Welcome back, my friends, to another video of the Patriotic pickup. We are a little over a week away from 4th of July, so I need to get these stars painted. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take these accent strips off the side, sand it down a little bit just to get rid of the glue and try to feather the paint, and then I'll fill in right here with the white so that the stripe is more obvious. And then fill in this with blue, obviously, so that when I do paint the stars, if I end up putting one of the stars, if the spacing calls for it to be somewhere around in here, I can put it there without having to try to work around these. So I've got a little scraper, and I'm going to go around and work on getting these off. Okay, so it's not pretty yet, but it's progress. I pulled the side accent pieces off, and then I used a heat gun set to 900 degrees Fahrenheit and a scraper in order to get the adhesive off. So I still need to do this side, and then I need to come back with the sander and sand it down, blend it so that this white paint there's not a little edge there. I'll sand it down and then repaint it. 700 degrees Fahrenheit will do the job, but 900 made it easier. Alright, most of the adhesive is off on both sides. Now I'm going to come back with my sander, 220 grit sandpaper, and try to smooth it out some more. The 220 grit, when I used it before, I think I could have gone a little bit of a coarser grit, stayed at only like 120, 140 or something like that, maybe 180. But the 220 grit is the only one that I have of the good sanding discs. The coarser grit sandpaper discs that I have are not a good quality, and so I was going through those incredibly fast when I was sanding this before. So I'm just going to go with the 220. And, I mean, it worked well enough. I haven't had any trouble with the paint flaking off, really. So, after I get it sanded, then I'm going to wash it and let it dry, and then we'll come back and touch up the white, touch up the blue, and then start on the stars. Get the points first. And then go over the rest. And then let that coat dry and a little bit, and then do a second coat. So what I have found works best when using these stencils is put the stencil on, paint over it, wait at least 2 or 3 hours, 4, 5, 6 hours, overnight maybe, before you take the stencil off. And what happens is, where it's exposed to air is dry, and all of the bleed under, or bleed around, whatever you want to call it, is still wet. And so then all you have to do is take some mineral spirits and then come and clean up the edge, and you don't really have to worry about it damaging the star because it's already dry, so it's not really gonna damage it if you don't soak it with it. But then you just have to come along and you can clean up the edges where the paint is still wet, it hasn't dried yet. And then once you get done working your way around and everything, then come back with a drier section and clean up, or another rag, and clean up the where the mineral spirits has spread the white. Alright, I think I'm gonna call it for this episode. I'm way overdue on actually publishing this one. But I got more stars painted on the sides. I got stars painted on the top. So I think I don't know if I might add one or two more. Maybe one on this side, one on that side, I don't know. But I think that's enough. And then I just need to do the red sometime. Speaking of, I opened up the can of red paint, mixed it up, and painted a little section there to color test it. And I think it'll work out well. It's a little bit brighter than the original red of this bed and everything, but I think it'll work. I think it'll fit well with the brighter blue than what's normally found on the flag. But I need to, this is already sanded, but I need to sand and clean inside the bed and everything. And then I'll paint it red, that color red. And then eventually I'll go ahead and get the clear coat for it, and I'll take the bed off, paint the back of the cab the blue, paint the front of the bed the red, let it dry, and then I'll go ahead and clear coat it. That way I don't have to take the bed off, put it back on, take it off again to do the clear coat, and then put it back on. So it's getting there. It's getting there. Thank you for your patience. For me taking so long to upload this video. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And if you haven't already, do so, please. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. I had a lead on a 4.3 liter engine, but that fell through, at least temporarily, but it may become available again sometime. It's not a 350, but it would have more power than the 2.5. It's a lot. So, if I do get to buy that, then I'll make a episode on that, a video on that, series on that, something of me rebuilding the engine to get it ready to put in here. But anyway, thank you for joining me again. And if you could hold the hood for me, thank you. While I put the, there we go. So yeah, there's a lot of empty space in here. It'd be nice to fill it up with a 4.3 or a 350. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna call it for this episode. And I'll see you in the next one.